Here is a controversial take on finance. I do not believe that lifestyle inflation is a problem at all. People say that you have to be very frugal in order to become rich. I do not believe that reducing expenses is actually the best lever to become rich. The best lever to become rich is to increase your income, right? Your wealth is the delta every month between income and expenses. And of course, you can reduce your expenses, but then of course your life sucks to a degree, right? Why do we all want to get rich? It's not to own $1 million, it's to spend $1 million. So it's way better to focus all mental effort on increasing income rather than reducing expenses. I even believe that increasing expenses can be enough of a motivator to increase income even more. Because think about this, right? Everybody is so shying away from the lifestyle inflation. But think about this. Let's say you've got a very, very tangible target in life. Let's say something like, I want to be able to buy that car. Or I want to be able to buy that house or the down payment on that house. Something very, very tangible. Once you've got the tangible target, the tangible material target, then you suddenly start thinking about, how can I achieve this? If you don't have any tangible target, if you simply just think, I want to become better, I want to earn more money, but it's not coupled to anything concrete, then the actions that you might be taking might also not be as urgent. So having something very concrete in front of you, which can be lifestyle inflation, can be super motivating. Now you only have to be very smart about this, right? So let's say you want to buy this particular sports car. And that sports car is, say, $100,000. Now what you can do is, you can just think about, what kind of income do I currently have? And if I simply just continue with my current route, what would I expect to earn in 2 or 3 years? Right, let's say you keep your current job, you get your raises of, let's be optimistic, 10% per annum. That's probably not what most people get. Let's say you get your 10% per annum raises, you do this for 2 or 3 years. This is then the income that I'd expect, say in 3 years, if I simply just keep going the way I would be going. But then let's say, with that path, you would not get that expensive sports car. But you've got now this big, big vision, right? You've got this big goal. What will happen? You will think about, what can I potentially do to achieve this? You will think about solutions to this. And the way to be smart about this is to say, I don't just want to earn, say, $100,000. The best way to think about this is, I want to earn at least $300,000 and then buy the $100,000 car. What happens in that case? In case you're able to achieve this, right? In case you really struggle hard and think about, how can I do this? Maybe you jump jobs. Maybe you learn a certain skill that you can then sell to a new employer. Maybe you add a side hustle, whatever it is, right? Once you get really concrete about this and you actually try to make a plan around earning those $300,000, what then happens is, yes, your expenses increased. You suddenly spend $100,000 on a toy. But on the other hand, you suddenly also have $200,000 more saved up. So the way to think about this, in my opinion, is to simply achieve way more than what you actually want to spend for, right? So if you just exactly make those $100,000 more, then of course this is a problem. But let's say you don't have this target, right? You don't have the target of lifestyle inflation, and you simply just keep going and you don't really have a motivation for anything, then you will simply just be at this baseline. But once you've got the motivation and you make 3 times of that thing that you want to buy, then suddenly you've got $200,000 also more saved. So you're even financially more stable. So this motivator can be super, super strong. And this is one of the reasons also why I started this YouTube channel. It wasn't just because I like crypto that much, etc. Of course I do. But it was also to increase my income overall, right? To build a community of people that make money. And in the end, this is why people say subscribe. The information is valuable enough to increase average performance. And that's a target, right? You want to build something useful that people use for the long time, that adds enough value that you can also charge a relatively high price, that then in the end also gives value to you. So you bring value to the world, you take some of that value for yourself, you increase your income with that, and then parts of that income can be spent for toys. That's way better than simply just sitting on the sofa and doing nothing, just saving a fraction of your income and putting this, say, in the S&P 500. Right? Then you're just moving along. Then you're not really getting ahead. And that's the interesting thing about life in general, right? It's always the progress. The further we can progress, the faster we can progress, the more exciting things become. Of course, also the pressure goes up with that. Right? There's way more challenges, there's more volatility in income, there's all kinds of new additional stresses. So life obviously doesn't get easier by climbing up those ladders, but still it is more exciting. And I think the worst thing that can happen to anybody is to get bored of life.
This video is sponsored by the Premium membership. I never take any money from any crypto project. I never take any affiliate links from centralized exchanges. I never pump and dump coins. Instead, I offer valuable tutorials in the Premium membership. Feel free to check it out.
Isn't it way better to have more struggles, to try to climb to new highs, to reach new goals, and to also save more money and then spend some of that money on those toys than to simply just go with the flow? And so this is an important aspect with investing as well, right? Do not try to use, say, your $1,000 to buy that micro meme coin hoping for 100x. It's unlikely going to work. Try instead to increase your wealth first to a certain level, say 12 to 24 months of expenses. And only once you've got that, only once you've got, say, 10 months or so that you can use for active speculation, then focus on growing this further. Initially, you want to be focusing on increasing your income, not only on growing your wealth, because your wealth might not be large enough to justify all this mental effort on growing that, right? If you only got 2 months of expenses saved up and you grow this by 20%, then what have you really gained versus if you are actually going to increase your income? So here's the important point in all of this. Have certain targets. So if your target is to become very successful in altcoin trading and you don't yet have the capital, then focus on that, right? Instead of focusing on, say, buying the sports car, focus on having enough money to then make it worthwhile to actually speculate. If you're already there and you're simply just trying to find the next target and you've already everything covered, your family is all good, everything is safe, you're simply just looking for the next motivation, then think about something stupid potentially, right? The target doesn't have to be that meaningful, right? The actual goal is to grow more. So obviously to grow in income, but also to grow mentally, right? When you've got more skills, then this is also very satisfying. So you have to develop your skills, obviously, to get higher income. So if you've got no motivation for this, nothing tangible, then simply just pick something tangible. Pick the car, for example, and strive for that car. And once you've achieved that, and once you've also saved the majority of that progress, then of course you can continue to the next target, whatever that then is. Right? But I believe there is a very strong link between being useful to the world and the income you make. Usually, if you help 10 people with your solution, you get 10 times a dollar amount. If you suddenly help 1,000 people with a solution, you get 1,000 times that dollar amount. So the more you help other people, the more you can scale your help to other people, the more useful you are to other people, the more income you make for yourself as well. So that random number in the bank account should not necessarily be the target. The target should be to increase the income. So I don't believe in keeping your expenses low and saving decades and decades until you're old. I believe it's much better to increase pressure in your life, to strive for something, even if it's relatively useless, just as a target, but to strive for something and through that struggle, develop yourself, become more useful to everyone around you, and then in the end, feel more satisfied with all of that. The target itself, the thing that you're buying, the material thing, is not in the end the main thing. The main thing is the personal development that comes from the struggle of reaching this. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. And feel free to join our Telegram group. There's a link to a Telegram down below. Looking forward to seeing you there. Cheers.